morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of Full Brew. I'm Patrick Fulcher.
And I'm Mike Brewer.
And we are so excited to be with you guys this morning. And Mike, I cannot believe it's already September.
It blows me away.
Of 2018. We're getting ready. Summer is gone.
Time flies.
And everybody's back in school, and we're
Thank
headed
goodness.
toward the fourth quarter of the year. And I have to tell you, Mike, I don't know if everybody can see this or not, but we now have our own coffee mug that has our logo on it. That's pretty cool, right? Cheers to you. Yeah,
That's awesome.
We're official. You can actually buy these on our store online. No, just kidding. But really cool, and that we now have our own cup, and there'll be opportunities on future episodes that you might be able to win one of those cups. The very coveted Full Brew coffee mug. But one thing I like about this cup, Mike, is that if I hold it in this hand or I hold it in this hand, the logo is on both sides.
That's right.
That is very important, because I know on our other cup,
It's an ambidextrous cup.
I had to hold the cup in my left hand.
That's right.
Right, for the appropriate logo to show. So whoever created that, thank you very much.
I like
that we can hold it with whatever hand we decide.
Exactly.
So Mike, a lot has been going on at Radco.
Definitely.
So before we jump into sort of the really heart of what we're talking about today, I wanted to kind of talk about some of those changes that have happened over really the last 30 to 45 days, and kind of just do a high-level overview. So I know there's been a lot of email communication.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of other types of communication, but I want to kind of just make sure that everybody that's watching is kind of informed. A lot of those changes happened in my group,
That's right.
Support Services. So I want to kind of like walk through those with everybody and make sure that they understand. Maybe they're not sure who to call or who to go to today. So we'll clear all of that up right here in the very start of the program.
I like it.
So, Mike, one of the first things that we did, which is really cool, and that is we had two different HR departments at Radco. We had one that serviced Radco companies and the corporate groups at Radco, and then we had an HR department inside Radco Residential, led by Travis Osteen. And Janet Belden ran the HR group in the Radco company side. So in line with our one Radco vision, and we'd always knew this was going to happen at some point, was we consolidated the two HR groups together. And so now that consolidated HR group actually sits in the Radco parent company and services all of the business divisions of Radco.
I like that.
Janet Belden, who you're actually going to be talking to a little bit later on in the
Had a great
program.
interview.
Absolutely. You're going to be talking to her about our employee referral program.
Correct.
But Janet is now our business-facing part of the HR group. So she's our HR business partner. And that's a new role for her. She was previously director of HR in the Radco companies. And then we have Travis Osteen, who stepped into a different role as the director HR administration. And so people go, what is that?
Right.
And I call it, and it's hard, I don't like to say this, but I call it the back office of HR.
Sure.
That is all of our systems, all of our processes, benefits administration, all that stuff, Mike, that has to happen. It's very tedious, it's very data-driven. And so Travis and his team, which is Kyle McKinney, who's our HR manager, and Denise Galertner, who is our HR coordinator, reporting into Kyle. So that is how HR is structured. And that group, Mike, all now services all the business divisions of Radco.
That's awesome.
Very good. And that team they're going through kind of some streamlining and process changes today, as any two groups that would come, separate groups that came together. But I think over the next 45 to 60 days, we're going to have all that ironed out.
It looks like it's been pretty intense. The times I've been wandering down the hall and I've seen you guys huddled up in the Texas conference room with big Post-it notes on the wall. It seems like it's a big project to organize.
It is, and I think if you went in Travis's or Janet's office today, you would see that we've successfully wallpapered their entire wall with giant Post-it notes. But there is a process in place, and we are working through all of that. But for any employee relations matters, questions about performance management, those all would be directed to Janet as the front-facing side of HR. Benefits related questions, system, Paycor related questions, all of that goes into Kyle and to Denise on Travis's team. So again, we'll be sending out a formal communication. Probably may see it even before this episode airs. So that will really clearly outline all of the people that you're supposed to contact about what.
That makes sense.
And so I just have a little bit of change going on.
Just a little bit.
Just a tiny bit of change.
You're not changing, you're dying, right?
That's right.
That's what I've heard.
So the second big transformation that is happening is our technology group, Mike. And we're also going to be talking to one of the members of our technology team. You actually get to, I interviewed. I get confused. I interviewed Aaron Boddicker, who is our business applications manager, but I wanted to kind of just summarize for everybody exactly what that restructure looks like as well. So now we have two clearly defined areas of technology. One is infrastructure that has Kevin Mills, who oversees that team. And then on the business application side, we have Aaron Boddicker.
So it's kind of hardware and software.
Yeah, that's exactly how I look at it. So applications being software, Yardi being the biggest one of those. And then Kevin and his team focus on actual like machines, servers, phone systems, all of those pieces that touch technology. So again, we're still working through some of those processes, and Mike, we now have a partnership with 5Q Partners, who is doing a fantastic job on really helping us streamline a lot of our technology-related matters.
Can't say enough about them. I think they brought a real structure and discipline and routine to that department, and it's just been
It
really
has been fantastic.
awesome.
So you are going to probably be hearing from some of the 5Q team as we start the process of really looking at all of the different pieces of technology at the property level.
That's right.
So when you send in a help desk ticket and we pull up your profile, we'll actually be able to see on the screen exactly what PC you're using, what printer you have, and you will actually, this is really cool, Mike, it's kind of really sci-fi, we'll actually be able to remote right into that desktop and take over the computer and actually do the troubleshooting right there on site.
That's awesome. So
It's
much more
fantastic, it really is. So those are just the two tiny little changes that are going on in my world right now, but it's really exciting, Mike, because I think it's going to make us a better company. We're going to be able to serve all the people that are watching us better from an HR perspective and also from a technology perspective. And I don't want to leave out our learning and development group because although not as much change is happening in that group, but we do have some changes that have occurred. Shay Lucas, who worked in our business applications group previously, she has now transitioned over under Jessica Gordon, who's our Director of Learning and Development. Shay Lucas has transferred over as the L&D business partner, and she's going to be really involved, Mike, in training. She could be training, one day she could be training CRM, the next day she could be training leasing skills.
And she's really
She
good.
really is, and she
Dynamic.
She has such a great rapport with the people on site because she worked on site for so many years, so she really understands a lot of those business processes. And then we have Christy Rodriguez, who was previously in an instructional design role with us, has now moved into our learning programs manager role. And a lot of you know Christy. She's quite the celebrity out there, Mike.
She is a celebrity.
I swear, everywhere I go, everybody knows Christy. If they don't know anybody else in the company, they know her.
She's the ambassador of the ambassadors.
She's the ambassador of the ambassador team. and I love that because she has ran our Amplify Ambassador program and our Safety Ambassador program, and is now going to be responsible for all of our programs that exist within Radco. So we're really excited to have her in that new role. So again, making our company stronger, better, and really looking to the future of catching up technology, catching up all of our HR processes, and continue to grow our team members, Mike, from a learning and development perspective.
That makes a whole ton of sense.
Well, fantastic. So,
Deep breath.
Deep breath. That was a lot. I feel like I've done a lot of the talking today, Mike, and you just sat there and gone, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
that's really fantastic.
I know. I don't know. It looks like I'm going to do some more of the talking now. So, Mike, one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we hit early on in the program was that we've had some changes related to the way we communicate with our team members.
Right.
And I want to make sure everybody understands what those changes are and what to expect going forward. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is, of course, Yammer. We never start and go through a program without talking about Yammer.
I think we're approaching 2 million.
It's
2 million? Maybe 3 million.
I think it's higher than that. I really do. But I will tell you, our social feed, our business social feed of Yammer is just become something that I love to look at every single day. We have pictures and people comment, and it's so cool to see that happening across our organization.
It's just, it's amazing. Every morning I get a little email alert. I click on the link and I go in and I just see all this incredible activity that has taken place from the prior day.
Yeah.
It's very hard to keep up with.
It really is.
Very inspiring, however.
And I will tell you, Norman told me that he actually, Norman Rada, our CEO, told me, and he doesn't comment on every one of them because he said that would be a full-time job. But he actually told me he reads every single post that goes on Yammer. So I can't believe how it seems like just yesterday we started Yammer, and today it's grown into this enormous thing. So we're going to be using Yammer to communicate with you even more through some different mechanisms that we're putting in place. So one of the things I'd like to talk about, Mike, is the Radical.
Yes.
Which the Radical has been our quarterly newsletter. And so what we have decided to do for now is put the Radical on hiatus for a few months as we kind of reimagine, I'm stealing that term from Disney.
I like it.
Reimagine what that communication looks like going forward as far as the Radical goes. So you won't receive one this month, and it's probably going to be a little closer to the beginning of next year before we fully get that baked out. But we wanted to make sure we communicated that to you so you didn't expect it.
Right.
And that there's clear expectations. And again, I don't know today exactly what that looks like, but I know that we have some really smart people, Mike, who are working on some alternative options related to the Radical and the information that's contained in there.
I can't wait. I'm sure it'll be awesome.
The other thing is our weekly bulletin, which has also become a communication tool that we use on a weekly basis, and that information is now going to be embedded in Yammer.
Yeah.
And so we're still working through some of the final pieces of that, but most likely there's going to be a channel that is going to be the weekly bulletin channel, or we'll call it something cool. I think we had some names flying around yesterday about what we're going to call that. But that will be the location that you will go to access the information that you were normally receiving in the weekly bulletin.
In the way of email, now it'll be in the form of Yammer.
Exactly. So it'll be posts, and there'll be headers, and it'll be operational information that's provided directly through the Yammer site.
And as I understand it, we have a number of individuals that will be responsible for putting that content in.
Yes, so before we had one individual who was kind of responsible for gathering all that and putting it into this format. So now each individual department has someone assigned in their group who are going to be responsible for posting operational direction.
I like that because it's a little bit of a stretch for individuals to do that on a weekly basis, right?
Absolutely.
To be very disciplined about that.
Absolutely. So
I like it.
We'll have that coming, and more information will be coming about that probably in the next few days. And then, Mike, I want to talk about our show,
Full Brew.
Full Brew. As with any good television season, and we're not really a television show, but we try to follow those same sort of guide.
Right.
Usually, they have what's called a hiatus. The show goes off the air for a few months, and they come back with a new set, a new logo, whatever it is, right? A refresh of that program. and we are going to do the same. So this is episode number 10, and we'll have a finale episode next month,
That's
which
right.
is really exciting because I think we're going to go back and look at all of our previous episodes and pull little bits and pieces out of that.
I really like that. That's going to be exciting.
I think it's going to be fun. But next month, in October, will be our last episode of 2018. So you don't want to miss that episode. We're going to go all the way back to December of 2017, which was when we started this program.
That's right.
And go back and pull out some of those highlights. So that should be fun.
We've come a long
We
way since then.
really have. We really have come a long way. So I feel like that's a lot of stuff, a lot of information I've given out, Mike. I hope everybody got that, and we're trying to communicate through email, Yammer, all these different ways to keep people informed of what's happening in the organization.
That's right. Is it my turn to talk?
It's your turn to talk, and I'm really glad because I need a drink of water.
Well, I get the privilege of talking about the 2018 Atlanta Apartment Association Can Drive, right?
Yes.
And so we're right in the throes of that, and I think it ends somewhere around October the 19th.
Yes.
Is that right? So the Foodathon is actually the world's largest food
I know.
drive.
That blows
right?
my mind.
It
Right here in
totally
our
blows my
back
mind.
door in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, it not only impacts the Atlanta metro, but it also impacts neighboring states.
Yes.
Not just neighboring communities, but neighboring states. So yeah, that's incredible.
It is incredible.
It's an interesting thing. It's a fun thing to be a part of. The theme this year is a land without hunger. And I know that our team members, you might see this flash up on the screen, our team members actually use that theme as a premise and an inspiration for decorating cans at
Yes.
the properties, the collection
Yes.
cans. And some of the ones you mentioned, Yammer.
Wow.
Some of
They're
those.
incredible. Like, I was like blown away by the creativity.
I know, it's just incredible. You know what I think is really neat about those exercises is that under the premise of that theme, you have a team building exercise
Yes.
where people get to exercise their creativity and put something together. But it's fun. You get
It
to
really is.
have coffee, donuts, whatever, and do something
And
fun.
Mike, the Foodathon, which is sponsored by the Atlanta Apartment Association, they actually are going to have a contest for the best entry into the decorating, and I think we have some potential winners.
I agree with that statement.
I'm really excited that we're going to be able to submit some of those in.
Exactly right. And along those lines, the Atlanta Community Food Bank, we had north of 40 people in our office
Yeah.
that I believe 2 Fridays ago, we went and did some volunteer time at the food bank. And during that effort, as I understood, that was sort of a food rescue exercise because we took goods that had been donated and we actually went through those things and took things out that didn't necessarily fit
Right.
and then packaged other things that did fit. And so through those efforts, I think we worked approximately an hour and a half, and we put together over 12,000 pounds of food that will actually become 7,600 plus or minus meals.
Yeah,
That's just
7,600 meals.
We did that in an hour and a half.
I know, and I felt like I couldn't believe that we accomplished that much, 12,000 pounds of goods that we went through in that period of time.
It was absolutely amazing. And thank you to the north of 40 people that actually participated. Everybody from Norman, right on down to some of our support services people.
Yes.
It was just an incredible effort on the part of Radco. And so I want to thank you. And then I want to encourage everybody in the out markets, whether it be with your local community food bank where you go and volunteer or some other cause, exercise that VTO day and get out there and participate in the community. You have that coming to you, so please use
Absolutely. And we, you know, what I found, Mike, is a lot of the apartment associations in Florida and the Carolinas, they have similar things.
They do.
That they do.
They do.
And so we want to make sure that all of our Radco team members, if that's something you want to do, you can participate in those. And we're going to have lots of other volunteer opportunities coming up throughout the rest of this year, and then we're already starting to plan for 2019.
That's right.
Where we can give back to the community and really exercise that caring in action, that Radco CIA.
Exactly right. Well, Patrick, segueing a little bit, we have, so the Grand Tour just made its way through Indianapolis.
Right.
And Mike DiCerno was part of the group. And so now we're going to take a look at an interview that I did with Mike to talk about the renovation efforts that are going on up there. And it's been absolutely
Pictures are
transformational.
incredible.
Oh,
And I think we're going to get to see some of those in your interview with Mike.
it's incredible. So let's take a look now. I have the privilege of spending a little bit of time with Mike DeSerno today, the EVP for our construction division in the organization. And Mike, you spent some time going through Indy this past week with the Grand Tour. And I thought it'd be interesting to hear your 90-day take on what is going on in Indianapolis.
So, I was the Grand Tour. We went last week. We had a great contingent from the office here go out, and it was actually Norman's first time visiting Indy, so it was quite an honor to let him see what all is happening there, because it's busy.
Oh.
It's really busy. You know, we started off with $27 million budget for 3 properties. It was 4 properties that we combined to 3.
Sure.
That's a big number. It's a big budget. It's a lot of there's a lot of building better living going on with that kind of money. So I think it was 2 weeks in, we had leasing offices painted. We were tearing out landscaping and redoing it. We've since gone back and added some irrigation and upgraded the landscaping even more at all the properties. We've completed 70 units. So we have 70 units delivered and renovated and delivered. And that's a good start on the, I think, about 1,000 units we're going to renovate over the course of a couple of years. So
Sure.
One of the things that we really concentrated on the first couple of weeks was making sure everybody had air conditioning.
Oh, yeah.
I think there were 200 people living in our communities without air conditioning.
200.
So our teams, between maintenance and then Scott and Josh and Carl weighing in, getting contractors out there, we were able to get either replacement HVACs installed or get them working so that everybody has air conditioning.
Well, and I have to imagine under the building better living and caring and those things, it's all the aesthetic things that we're doing, really important. And it's great for curb, pill, and a pop. But having an air conditioner that works,
Yes.
I imagine that was more meaningful to those residents.
To those 200 residents,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes.
So we really went in and made an impact right off the bat.
Exactly. We're working with Amazon to get package lockers at all the properties. They've come out and done their surveys. We know where they're going to go. We're prepping our site. We're just waiting on Amazon to tell us when they can deliver.
And I got to tell you, I know it doesn't have anything to do with Indy, but I was just in Texas at Gate, and I saw the Amazon lockers, and I also saw one of the leasing offices. That was the first time I saw that leasing office. But
Yeah, we just finished that one.
what a great product! I mean, seriously, what
Yeah.
your team accomplishes in those leasing offices, just there is no comparison, right? And the Amazon lockers look fantastic.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. That's been a big project across the portfolio, and we're happy that we can also have those in Indy. Of course, one of Norman's big things is light it up, right?
Like a baseball
Get it
stadium,
bright.
the
Make
infield.
it look like the infield at he used to say Turner Field, but
Yeah.
now SunTrust Park across
Exactly.
the street, right? So I don't know that we can get them that bright, just based on limitations. But we have started at all 3 properties. Running new circuits, adding lights. The properties were very dark, and one of the main reasons is because when they were built, they were never wired for the wall packs to really light up the areas outside the building. But where we've done the lights, it's quite a bit brighter. Actually, when I was there for the Grand Tour, I got a chance to talk to our private security company, one of the officers, and he did mention that it's really decreased the areas where people can congregate, which in turn should decrease the crime and activity that we don't want.
That makes sense.
So, shout out to Josh and to Scott, who are on the ground every single day, working long hours. It's a credit to them that we've been able to accomplish all that.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Carl's flying in every other week to give them support as needed. I think they're doing a great job coordinating with the site teams there.
Definitely. It seems to me that is really a key to, $27 million is a lot of money.
It is.
It translates to a lot of projects, which translates to a lot of people's efforts, right? And if you don't have people on the same page working together toward that aim of getting it all deployed, right, it's a catastrophe. So those relationships are really, really important.
And then we have, of course, we have Sam playing quarterback.
Yeah.
And he's been a huge help in clarifying scopes. We were able to save some money at Creekside, Meridian Hills, on a couple of the big projects, on the siding project, the paint project, and the wood repair project. We were able to come up with enough savings just between those 3 projects to add window replacement, which was not part of our scope. And their power bills are going to go down.
That's right.
They're going to have windows that they can open and close. I don't know, some of those you can't open and close. I was in a couple of apartments that had them screwed shut. which is a safety concern.
That's exactly
But somebody screwed them shut because the lock mechanism didn't work anymore, and they were afraid. So huge item for our residents for sure.
Yeah. Your 90-day measure here compared to 90-day measure at other projects, you're right on track, or?
I think we're on track with where we thought we'd be. We had some goals that had us delivering some more units and getting some more people moved in. But entering the one of the biggest challenges is entering a new market.
Sure.
If this had been this same project, $27 million, 3 big properties in suburban Atlanta,
right.
we'd be further along. But the amount of time we've spent moving contractors out to Indianapolis, building relationships with new contractors who we tell them we have all this work, but until they see it and they get paid for some of it, they're not throwing all their resources at it. We were lucky enough to have some national partners that already had crews in that area, which is how we ended up getting started so quickly on the exterior renovations.
Got it. Well, Mike, I really appreciate the efforts. I mean, you run a team of people that I feel, or at least from observation, care a ton about the work that they do. They're craftsmen, true craftsmen in the trade that they do. And so I appreciate that. And I appreciate the leadership that you put behind that to make all that happen, because it's spread out.
Yeah, my team's fantastic. And they really do, every single one of them cares about the property, about the residents that live there. And they want to deliver as quickly, a great product as quickly as they can, because they know it impacts the lives of, in this case, thousands of people.
That's right.
Indianapolis, not just hundreds of people.
Appreciate you stopping by, and we look forward to the interview coming up on
Thank
Friday.
you.
Yep.
All right.
So Patrick, that is amazing, isn't it?
I can't even believe, I don't even know what to say.
No,
when I look at those before and afters of that property, I cannot. I'm really moved, Mike, because I can't imagine what the residents there feel.
I think Norman likes to say we are changing lives.
And that is
We are changing lives.
physical example of that.
Exactly right, and the pictures don't do it justice.
can't
When you
imagine.
are there in person,
Yeah.
and if you had the privilege of seeing it before and seeing it now, it is like night and day, truly night and day.
And I understand last night, Mike, if I think I'm right, and I know this will be dated by the time this airs, but that Norman and a number of the executive team members were actually in Indianapolis for the tours,
True.
and they took the entire team
That's
to a
right.
dinner last night. And I'll tell you, those pictures they got me.
Yeah.
It was great to see that happening, and Norman just has a way of he just is, he's so good in those type of situations.
It's something I think you and I potentially have a privilege of seeing that a little more often than others, but when Norman goes out, he has the opportunity to celebrate. He does it in a big way.
Yes.
And pulling everybody together and having an audience with them where he really invests in talking about the vision of the organization, but actually showing it through action. And I think that's just really, really cool.
It was incredible.
That he does that. Yeah.
And one of the things that amazes me, Mike, is I meet people from the property. There are people that have, we have the privilege of seeing Norman a lot here because we're here every day, and some of our team members that are watching don't. But literally, it's like they've known him for years.
That's right. It's like an old friend stopping by.
It's like an old friend. It's just amazing that he has that ability to connect with people like that. And I don't know that's really, I don't know a lot of CEOs that can do that.
No.
That can really connect with the people who are really the front lines of that organization. And that was great to see those pictures from last night.
I think it was just based on some of the interview footage that we saw in our last episode of Full Brew. It's really that, I think his upbringing, his parents really sort of lent to that,
Yes.
right? And it doesn't hurt that he's a great storyteller, right? So you get really thrilled by the stories that he tells.
I do want to throw in here, I didn't preview it in the beginning, we had a lot more footage of Norman's interview
True statement.
that we were able to air on the last episode. So we're going to hear more from Norman in just a little bit. So the one thing that I talked about in the very beginning, Mike, was the technology department.
Right.
A reorganization, and I call it transformation, that's happening in that department. And so I thought that it would be a great idea to bring in Aaron Bonacker, who is our business applications manager, and hear a little bit from her about how that business applications side is being restructured. And then one of the things that they are rolling out is our CRM product
Right.
through Yardi Voyager, and for her to explain a little bit about what that product's going to do for people that are watching. So let's take a look at the interview that I did with Erin. Welcome everybody. I am so excited to have Erin Bonacker here with me this morning. Erin, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And we are going to be talking about some of the details of our recent technology transformation. And some of you probably remember an email that came out from me probably about 3 weeks ago, kind of outlining what we are doing within the technology department to really raise the bar and really be able to provide outstanding service to all of our team members who use our technology every day in our company. So I wanted to bring Erin in today to talk about a piece of that technology transformation, which we call business applications. So Erin, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your job and what the group that you work with in the technology department are doing.
Sure. So I'm Erin Bonacker, and I am the Business Applications Manager. I have a team of 4, soon to be 4.
Soon to be 4.
So-
We have an opening, and we'll talk about that in just a second.
Yeah.
But Erin, I have to stop you right here because I know a lot of people that are watching are asking this question: is what is business applications? Can you just kind of
Sure.
clarify that? Because I know some people are asking that.
Yeah, absolutely. So applications are all of the software that all of Radco uses, from the residential team, the investment management team, accounting, so any of the software
Okay.
that we use currently.
So Yardi
Yes,
would
Yardi.
definitely be our biggest piece of software.
Yep, so yes,
right,
we
that
have
use.
Yardi. Maintenance has HappyCo.
HappyCo for inspections?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, so that helps us understand, because I want to make sure everybody understands, because IT has 2 very distinct groups: business applications, which you are responsible for, and then our IT infrastructure group. So Erin, tell us a little bit about the team that works with you and what they specifically do.
Sure. So I have 2 support team members. They handle the tickets. So when you email help desk and you have an issue with any of the applications or software that we use, that's who answers those. So everybody, I'm sure, knows Jay Cianciolo.
Right.
He is a support person on the team. And then we're excited that Shatina Taylor will be transitioning back over.
And Shatina's actually going to be returning back to that department. She's done a brief little sabbatical in residential and a different role, and she's going to be coming back and joining Jay. So you're going to have 2 really strong people
Yes.
who can handle all those tickets that come in. And remember, if you have an issue, you want to email help@radcoliving.com or help@radco.us, and that ticket comes in, and one of those 2 team members handles that.
That's correct.
And that's any business application.
That's correct. Yes, and
Awesome.
and they're great. So
They really are.
and they really like to help, and they want to help. So if there's anytime there's an issue, yeah.
That's awesome. And then tell us about 2 new jobs
Yeah.
that we have just created, and who's working in those positions.
Yeah, sure. So the other side of the applications team is the business analyst. So I currently have 1. We are actually recruiting for a second. But Laura Hill has moved over from support into that role, and she's running with it, and she's doing a great job. So it's new, and
Absolutely.
she's excited. So a little bit about that is when there's a new initiative, if somebody hears about a new software application and they say, hey,
Mike Brewer.
yes, that
Just
guy,
kidding.
we're like this now.
That guy, I tell you what, he must read in his sleep about all this software. because-
Yes, and yeah, he's very excited about technology. So
Yes.
we talk a lot. But that side, the application, the analyst side would start the discovery
Okay.
of would it work for us? Is it something that we already use?
Mm-hmm.
And then that department doesn't know about it. So it is a, discovery and
So if I'm a business owner and a piece of our business or somebody on site and they think they have a technology that we should take a look at, they should bring that to their manager. And then if we feel like that's something that might be worth pursuing, the
Yes.
business analyst team would meet
Yep.
with that person and really determine if that's something we should move forward with.
That's correct,
And
yes.
then once there is something that we go thumbs up, we're going to do, then Laura and the other business analyst would work with that business owner to move that initiative forward.
that's right.
Fantastic.
That's
So we have that open position, which we
Yes.
are recruiting for, and we want to let you know that if you have anyone that you know, a friend, family member that might fit the requirements for that position, you're going to learn about in just a few minutes from another guest that's going to be on the show exactly how you can refer people to that position. So, Erin, it sounds like you've got a great team. We've still got to
Yes.
fill that one job. But it sounds like we've got a good structure in place to be able to support all of our business applications that we use every day at Radco.
Yeah, I have a great team. They're
Awesome.
fantastic.
So, Erin, one of the initiatives that your team is working on now and have been a part of the deployment of this product is the CRM capability inside Yardi Voyager.
Yep.
And so I know a lot of our team members that are watching today use this tool every day or will start using it as they get trained on it. And so one of the things I always noticed, Erin, when I logged into Yardi was that it looks like an accounting software.
Sure.
It's very, and I'm not an accountant, nor have I ever pretended to be one. But it was difficult to navigate. It was hard to find out exactly where to click or where to go for specific things. So what I understand, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that the CRM product is almost like putting a skin or a face on a not so pretty product.
Yeah, so it's the pretty face.
The pretty face on the front of this software. So can you kind of walk us through as if I'm an on-site team member and I'm looking at the CRM dashboard, what are some of those key things that I'm going to be able to do inside that software?
So CRM is definitely a site application. It's prettier, it's easier to use. There's not a whole lot of clicking around that the site teams would have to do.
Right.
Where they go into Yardi and they have to click here and then click there, and it's overwhelming.
Sure.
So
I was overwhelmed
Yeah.
when I logged into
Yeah.
Yardi. So I know that our teams that they're very busy, they have
Absolutely.
residents standing there. So what you're saying is it really streamlines things. So
Yes,
it's easy
absolutely.
to find, easy to use. So can you kind of walk through some of those,
yeah.
maybe just two or three things that are
Sure.
really highlights?
Sure. So, well, first of all, it was created to be able to be used on a smart device.
Okay.
So if a leasing agent is out on site and they're showing a unit or they're just walking the property, if they were showing a unit and a prospect wanted to see a different unit, it's right there
Right there
on
on
their
the
hand,
tablet.
and they can go and this one's available, we can go and see this.
Awesome.
Or if there was something that they saw on the property that they had to take a note of, or saw something that they
Right.
would need to notify a resident, they can send out the
So if
notifications
I'm-
from right there.
So if I'm out on the property and I see a patio that's in violation of the lease
Sure.
requirements, I can snap a photo of
That's
that.
right.
I can also go right on my mobile device and send a notification to the resident.
That's correct, yes.
That's incredible.
Yes, yeah. So another great feature is the ease of the guest card
The
workflow.
guest card, yes.
Workflow.
Easy to use. People don't have to go click here and click there. They can go
Right.
right into the
Absolutely,
application.
yes.
And also, Erin, are they able to communicate with prospects and residents
Yep.
through the
Right
CRM?
through CRM,
tool?
yes. So the idea is to have the site just use CRM and do all of their work through there.
Do I get reminders? Do I get notifications, alerts that I'm supposed to do something? If I need to follow up,
That's
if I need to send a note, if I need to, whatever I need to do, the system reminds me of that.
Send you an alert to say, hey, you have a follow-up, or you have an action that needs, or a task that needs an action. So yes, yeah.
Absolutely.
And then reporting is easier
Yes.
for the sites. It's not so many reports, just I don't know what I want to look at. They know what they need. You know, they want to see renewals. They want to see availability. Those reports are easier for them to find and easier for them to look at.
Well, that sounds awesome, Aaron, and it sounds like it's going to be a really more streamlined, easy approach for our site team members instead of this sort of really difficult to navigate accounting software, which I know it can be difficult when you have so much going on inside.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, Aaron, I really appreciate you being here with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It sounds like we have an amazing team coming together.
We do.
In the
We do,
business
for sure.
applications group. You're going to be leading that group. And I know that our team members, you guys are interacting with our team members on a daily basis.
Yes.
And so we're really appreciative to Jay, and we're excited about Shatina rejoining the team in
Well,
a support role.
The systems team, just so so everybody knows, we work for you guys. You know, you're our customers, so we are here to support you, and what we can do to make your jobs easier. That's what we want to do.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for being with us, Aaron,
Thank you.
today.
Thanks for
I really
having me.
appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
And more to come about CRM in the next couple of weeks. So a huge thank you to Aaron Moniker, Mike,
Yeah.
for coming in today and really helping us have a better understanding of what the business applications group is doing,
Yeah.
and especially what the CRM product is going to do for us. And I think that is an exciting thing, to be able to really put a pretty face,
Yeah.
aesthetically pleasing face on the front of the Yardi portal. So I think that's going to make a huge difference.
I totally agree with that. And I was thinking from a broader perspective as we were watching Aaron talk about business applications, and it's really interesting to me. There is about $12 billion of venture capital being
Wow.
dumped into CRM, or I mean, sorry, not CRM, but prop tech, or technology that is going to impact the prop tech.
That's the term.
That's right. That is impacting the commercial real estate industry.
Sure.
And so the point that I want to make with that is putting this department in place, headed by Erin and the two people that will be assisting her, is very important right
Critical.
now. Because there will be a tsunami of business applications coming through, and if we don't have a way to vet that, we may miss the boat, or we may adopt things that don't really make sense for us.
Exactly.
It's just going to be very noisy over the next 18 to 36 months, and I think it's awesome that we are putting
And
that
it's
in
really
place.
hard, Mike, because a lot of us attend conferences and go to different meetings where we have just this barrage, and I like your term, tsunami,
That's right.
of people approaching us going, hey, have you taken a look at this? Hey, have you looked at this? And there has to be sort of a central place where all that gets vetted out
Has to.
before, we can't just go with everything.
You can't, and it can be very overwhelming if you've got 6 different people doing exactly what
Yeah.
you just described without some sort of gatekeeper,
Right.
sort of vetting all of that stuff. So it's a big deal, and I'm so excited that we have put that in place to vet that
I
stuff.
am too.
Very cool stuff. Well, I had the
You had?
privilege, yes, of interviewing Janet Bailden, HR business partner. I really like the way, I think you
Yeah.
came up with that term, right? Because I think dating back, HR was always looked at, and you use this term, hall monitor, somebody that walks around the halls
The
and, "Hey, you didn't do
personnel
this."
department.
That's right.
Right?
But today it really is a department that is a partner in putting systems and processes in place that really highlight talent, right, and push talent forward to the
Exactly.
next level. So
Yes.
I really like that. I had the opportunity to talk to Janet about one program specifically. So let's take a look at that now. Good morning. I have the privilege of sitting down with Janet Bailden, our new HR business partner, and we're going to talk about the employee referral program. So maybe, Janet, if you could if you want to start by talking about what your new role is, and then maybe lead into what an employee referral program is, that'd be fantastic.
Sure. Thanks, Mike. Well, as Mike mentioned, I'm the new HR business partner for Radco, and it really is a privilege to be able to work with everybody. The role is really what it sounds like. I'm going to be working with all team members at Radco when it comes to personnel, day-to-day questions, and being your main resource when it comes to anything HR related. performance management, employee engagement, and then that leads us to talent development, which, when it comes to talent, we really have a need at a lot of our properties right now. There's a void. We have a lot of open positions. And the real purpose of this program is what better resource, what better reference than by our own team members. So that's the whole gist of it.
Absolutely. So I imagine with an employee referral program that there's something that's really enticing about that, or sort of that whiff of what's in it for me. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So, to start with the team member referral program, we really, the whole purpose, we were going to try to make it super simple, very easy to do. We know everybody's busy, personal lives and professional lives, so really it was creating a convenient way for team members to share the jobs, any open positions that there are at Radco. What's in it for you? Money.
Money. I like it.
So,
where do I sign up?
So the way this works, it's pretty simple. We, as most people know, we have an application tracking system called Newton. And in Newton, that's the way that we, the avenue that we use to post jobs externally, whether that's on Indeed, whether it's Glassdoor, wherever it may be. So Newton kind of pushes out those jobs.
So we put them in Newton, and
Yeah.
that pushes it out to this. Okay,
Exactly.
understood.
Yeah, and so what there is called the Gravity app, and you can just go to the link that's displayed on the screen, and once you download that app on your phone, it's super simple. It's linked directly to Newton. You can automatically view any open positions at Radco.
Okay.
And by a click of a button, you can share it with friends, family, on any social media site. I think it links to LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, you name it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Snapchat?
I don't
Maybe
know.
not
I don't know. So once you post that job, a friend looks at it, says, you know what, I can tell my friend's been always raving about Radco. I want a job there. They click, they apply, and if they get the job, we can actually link it back to that team member, and voila.
So what I understand you're saying, Janet, is that if I push a job out through the Gravity app
Yep.
that I download on my phone,
Yes.
and one of my friends clicks on that link, it's going to track that right back to me so
Exactly.
that I get credit for that.
Exactly.
How
So-
cool is that?
What will happen is, let's say you refer a friend, that friend gets hired. After that friend has been with Radco for 60 days, it hits that trigger, and we will actually pay you for that referral.
So I have a question as it relates to that. So in the past, I've seen these programs where it's the responsibility of the person who made the referral to keep track of that paperwork, that administration, and at that 60-day mark, it's on them to actually turn that in. It sounds like we've taken that element out.
Exactly.
And we're able to track it on the backside ourselves.
Exactly. Now, in the event, let's say you refer a friend or a family member and you didn't use the Gravity app, or your friend forgot to use the link, then of course we wouldn't be able to track it that way. However, there will still be the main HR email address that you can email directly. Or when your friend when your friend actually goes through the enrollment process and starts the onboarding process in Paycor, there is a place there that says, were you referred by someone? And when they put your name in there, it'll still link back to you as well.
Got it.
So we have some backup plans as well. And what we're going to be doing is actually putting a pretty simple flyer together that will outline all of this, and we're going to blast it out, all properties, all team members.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to talk about the dollar
The
amounts?
dollar amount, yeah. So the dollar amount will really range based on the type of position that was referred.
Okay.
So anywhere from on-site office staff up to regional manager or even corporate team member. But the dollar amount will range anywhere from $200 to $500.
Nice.
And that's after taxes.
After taxes. So
Yes.
we've grossed that amount up so you
We've-
get a full.
We've grossed it up, and Radco is actually going to pay the tax portion for you. That's
Wow.
that's how much we want you to refer a friend.
Okay, so maybe to wrap up, Janet, there are two things I really love about the employee referral program. We've sort of gamified it in the sense
Right.
that we can track it right back. The other thing is that I think there's research out there that suggests that if you, as a Radco employee, bring your friends into the mix, there's a very high likelihood, a high correlation that that employee is going to be a long-term employee.
Absolutely.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of research out there that indicates that referrals, employee referrals work really well. There's definitely a sense of loyalty there. And it's not just to each other, but, Radco employees, our Radco team members are our biggest cheerleaders, right?
True statement.
So you guys are the ones that are going on your social media sites, raving about Radco, the events that you've been involved in, the charity work that you're doing with Radco, going to parties, talking about your work, and what better way than to promote the company than by those who get to experience it firsthand. So I think when friends and family actually follow those referrals, it's because they are already invested in the culture of the company.
True statement.
And so it really does it for us. I think it's proven to be highly successful, and I'm really excited to see what this will bring.
Well, Janet, I want to thank you for your time.
Yeah.
And I want to encourage everybody to look out for the information on Yammer, and then also the flyer that you're putting together, and we sending out, I assume, via email.
Yes, exactly.
So look forward to that. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much. Pleasure.
Well, Patrick, that was exciting. Our new HR business partner is thrilling.
I'm really excited about the Gravity app, Mike. It's a
Yeah.
quick way. It's an easy way. It doesn't require a lot of effort, because I find, and I've been doing HR for many, many years, and I find anything that's difficult, people are not
They're not
going to
gonna
do it.
You're exactly
So
right.
to have this really quick link on your phone that you can go out and share jobs in probably less than a minute,
That's right.
I think people will do that, and we really want people to refer people to our company. Like you were saying in the interview, there's a lot of studies and there's a lot of information out there that show employee referrals tend to be the best source for candidates.
That's right.
And because it's like, Mike, you're putting your stamp. If I refer you to a job, I'm sort of putting my stamp of approval
That's right.
on you as someone that I recommend.
You have some skin in the game,
Some
right?
skin in the game. So I'm really excited about that. And Janet, thank you for being on with us today and explaining all about that program.
I have to say one more thing.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about the fact that this is like a little gamification, right? And so when we can share jobs out, I'm like, I'm going to win this game.
I
I'm
am
going to
too.
share all these jobs,
And
and
I
I'm going to
love-
have the most referrals.
You have the stats board on there. You have
That's
a
right.
stats board. So you want to, I love it. And I know that all of our team members are very competitive, because
That's
you
right.
see that on Yammer all the time. And so I think I agree with you. Game on.
Yeah, game on. Hashtag game on.
Absolutely. Very good.
Love it.
Well, Mike, we always want to talk about, customer service.
This is the year of the customer.
the lifeblood of what we do. And so we wanted to share some great customer service stories that have come in over the last few weeks. And I'm going to read some of those now. So one of the ones that we received was for Kiera White at Ashford Walk. And this is what the resident said. I'd been apartment hunting for a good month, and I came here on a Saturday, met Kiera, a professional leasing agent. She was busy at the time, but she took time to answer my questions and tell me what I needed to know. At that moment, I knew this would be my new home. And it is. Thanks, Kiera, for your assistance in helping me start my new journey in my life. So, Mike, it's really important when sometimes our leasing offices get really, really busy.
They do.
And there could be multiple people in the office. There could be current residents, there could be prospects. And so we always have to acknowledge that person. And we can't ignore them. And we'll say, you know what, I'm working with this issue right now, but I'm going to be with you in a minute. And this story is definitely one of those situations.
I agree with that. I think that is a true art, and the difference between somebody who does it well and doesn't do it so well is that artisan factor to it, right? There's no manual that's going to tell you how to do it.
No.
But if you're a true artist, you can do it and get away with it.
And you make people feel
That's
like
right.
they are just as important, no matter if you're standing in front of them right at that moment, or they're kind of waiting in line to receive service from you. That still sends a message that they're important.
Exactly.
Well, another one that we received in, Mike, was from a team member, Pedro Rodriguez at Ashford Indian Trail here in Georgia. He says, I am new to Georgia. I came across these apartments during my housing search and absolutely love them. Not only are the renovations wonderful, which we talked about earlier, I can go on and on about how incredible all the staff is. They are so friendly, welcoming, knowledgeable, and very professional. The leasing process has been so smooth. Huge thank you to Pedro Rodriguez for providing exceptional customer service. He has made the process so easy for me and has made me feel so welcomed. The manager, she is wonderful. Also, one of the female staff that works there always welcomes me by my name, greets me with the hugest smile, and sparks a conversation with me every time. I always look forward to seeing her and Pedro. I'm very happy with my new home and my decision to join the community. 5 stars. Definitely recommend these apartments.
Love that.
I
Love,
tell you,
love,
Mike,
love
there's
that.
there's power in using people's names.
There is.
I've heard that for years, and when someone calls you by name, who you maybe don't see that often, there is a powerful thing that occurs.
It's the most important word in the English language to you,
It
right?
is. It absolutely is.
People love to
And
hear their name.
I will tell you, that 5 stars, Mike. I mean, we need those every day happening in our organization. So Pedro, thank you so much for delivering that exceptional service, and so much so that this resident wrote this amazing review. So congratulations to you and all the team at Ashford Indian Trail. So one final one, Mike, is from Magnolia Terrace. Cassandra Tyson is the team member, and the resident writes, I moved into Magnolia Terrace in the last week of June. I had some family issues come up that conflicted with my lease. Cassandra stayed in the office past closing time to help me get situated and did everything in her power to ensure that I would have a good move in the next day. Ever since then, I have absolutely loved living here. We have a security guard that is extremely friendly and patrols at nighttime. The office staff is amazing and deserves all the praise. I'm sad to be moving at the end of this year just because this is truly a lovely place to live. Wow. Another phenomenal review.
You know what really sticks out beyond the awesome customer services? This is not a 9-to-5 job.
It's not.
Right? It's 24/7, and just because 5 o'clock is about to hit, it doesn't mean that the customer sort of operates on that timeline. And to stay after without even thinking about it, just to get the service done, is top notch. I appreciate that.
And we all know, Mike, we've all moved in our lives, different places. I've moved a lot in my years
Sure.
of different places I live, and nothing ever goes exactly. We could have it planned out perfectly and think, oh, this is exactly how the day's going to go. It doesn't go that
Best
way.
laid plans.
And Cassandra, thank you, Cassandra. You
Yes.
were able to work with this resident, step outside the box, and now we have this amazing review and a customer who is a raving fan of Radco. So one of the other questions that you asked Norman was, when he visits the properties, he
Yeah.
always likes to ask the staff, what do you need from us? What can we do to help?
That's right.
And sometimes our team members aren't always as forthcoming about, or they're a little more reserved about what they say when asked that question by Norman. So he has a really interesting answer to this question. So let's take a look and see what he said to you about fixing problems.
So we've been Grand Tour Part 1, and
Yes.
we're into Grand Tour Part 2. And you very famously, at every property, ask a question, and that question is...
I'm glad you're going to remind me.
it's not it's not a question specific. In my head, it's a very Socratic method of getting to a answer, sort of leading people to an answer, and or getting them to at least disclose, hey, what are the problems and what are the issues here? And I want to take advantage of this moment, this forum, and Full Brew to really expand on the premise behind that, because I think many times you and I've shared, well, why don't people talk about this before I get in this moment, and I'm the guy who's bringing this stuff up? And that is a true statement, and it truly does happen out there. But I want to take advantage of this moment in time to really sort of drive home the point that, hey, listen, bring those things up in the organization. There is a system there, but there are filters in that system that seem to sort of suppress those things. So if you could just talk about why that's important to you in this organization, and what is the answer?
Well, we want to fix problems, right? And we want, in general in business, when you have a corporate office and ancillary offices, it's always corporate. It's like this us versus them. And that's why last year we rolled out the One Radco. Very serious about it. It's very important. We're all one company. I don't care where you sit. I don't care what clothes you're wearing. I don't care what city you're in. We're one Radco. We're one team. And if we're a team, we got to rely on each other. Period. End of story. I mean, it's very important. But we can say it. I can wave my hands. I can jump up and down. I can take my clothes off. I can do all those things to get your attention. But realize that our industry, specifically, but people in general, have a culture of trying to internalize problems and that if they are the bearer of an issue, then they may be responsible for that issue. And property management is notorious for this.
Sure.
Notorious for this. So we have to work harder, you and I, and all of us, to pull that information out. And that becomes a little easier because of the experience we have.
Sure.
We have 7 years of seeing now in over 80 properties in 13, 14 different cities, to understand when you see a number or you see something on the ground that you know there's something behind that. And so you just ask the question and the information comes. 3, 4, 5 years ago, I may not have known enough to ask the right question.
Fair.
And now we have that knowledge and we can ask the right questions and it starts pouring out. We've been together several times where you're just sitting there going, how come I didn't know that? And then you turn to the asset manager, why didn't you know that? And the regional, why didn't you know that? And nobody knew that. And here the property manager was finally telling us, but it wasn't that she blurted it out, tell us your issues. I had to ask 7, 8, peel back the onion to get to the admission of what the problem was. And go, oh, well, we can fix that. We've done that 20 times already.
Right.
We've got a solution. So I beg everyone, don't make me take my clothes off to make the point. By the way, let the record reflect Sharon is shaking her head and turned bright red. Absolutely, she did that, and I live for that, by the way. But please do that.
Yes.
I mean, we're not gonna. The messenger is not going to be blamed for this. The messenger is going to be lauded for bringing something to our attention, and so that we can help with solutions. And so it's happened time and time again, but less and less, which is the good news.
I agree with that, and I like to highlight. I've heard you say many times, look, at the end of the day, and these are not your words of mine, but at the end of the day, I at least want the opportunity to say no, right? If it's a big ticket item, but if I don't even have that opportunity to say no, it might have been something I would have said yes to, and hey, it would have solved your problems, given back time to provide better experiences, et cetera, et cetera. So yes, I also beg and encourage, get that stuff filtered up as fast as we can.
So Mike, my question to you is, so we heard what happens at the site when Norman asked that question. When you ask that question to our site team members when you're touring, what answer do you usually get?
Sure. I think I'd lead by saying that I'm a little less intimidating than Norman.
That's true.
So
even though you are very tall.
I am tall. If I stand too close to you, then I appear intimidating. So I think people tend to open up to me a little bit more, but I have to believe in my heart of hearts that I don't get the full story. At the end of the day, I think there is some innate fear in disclosing issues on a property because you want to feel like, as the leader and the property manager, that you are all over it on every point.
On top of it.
That's right. But I would tell you that the reason we have a property management company, the reason we have a community of talented team members is that you can't be on top of everything 100% of the time. Yes. And the reason we want you to bubble these issues up very quickly is because we have this gigantic resource, right, that can help you solve things very, very quickly. And that's the point. We just want the problems presented so that we can solve them quickly and get you moving your business forward. Sure.
I always had a saying, Mike, I used to say this in HR, problems that are hidden only get worse.
They do.
If they keep trying to get pushed down, it's almost like they just keep getting bigger and bigger.
And
so it's better, and I've heard Norman say many times he'd rather know.
That's right.
And I think he's used the term the good, the bad, and the ugly, no matter how ugly it is, because if we know about it, we can actually all work together, like what you said, as a team to resolve the issue.
That's right. So never be afraid that you're not all over it. Never be afraid of that. But come to the table with a precise definition of what your problem is, and yes, we can put resource against it and solve it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great.
It was awesome.
Well, Mike, just to kind of wrap up this series with Norman in this episode is you had one other question that I really wanted to highlight, and that was you asked Norman what in his personal, this is more of a personal question, right? Not necessarily about the business, but a personal question is what are some changes that he has made, or a change that he has made over the last year in his life related to habits, beliefs, or routines? And I found this answer to be very interesting because specifically because Radco grew from this small company of like 45 to 50 people to now almost 600
That's right.
employees. So let's hear Norman's answer to your question about what he's changed in his life as the company's grown up.
Beliefs, behaviors, habits. Have you shifted any of those things in the last 5 years, plus or minus, and has that impacted your life in any way, shape, or form?
Yes, I have. I've actually pulled back. One of the hardest things we all can do is trust others to implement things. And we were always a smaller company. The 600 people is the largest we've ever been.
Sure. Even
in Radco 2.0, when we were so successful, we had 50. And to me, that was a lot. So when you start getting larger, there's a point in time where you can't be good and do everything yourself. And it's so hard when you've done things this way or that way and you think you really know better to then delegate that and then pull back. I can't come into your office every day and say, Mike, how did you do it? What did you do? I can't do that. I'll go crazy. You'll hate your job. Nothing will ever get done. And so that's been a huge change for me. And so now having an executive team that we have just 6 incredible people on that executive team. And I don't include me. I'm the 7th. But I have 6 incredible people that if they say something, I can take it to the bank. And so my job has changed. I've become more I hate to use this expression, but the first time I heard it, I laughed, but the thought leader. To look at the big picture, to be the cheerleader for all our teams, to where if I see some of my experience that maybe can help people, I use that, but effectively, I've delegated down to the executive committee and then you to your people to make this happen. So sometimes I want to just call the property manager myself and say, what the blazes is going on?
Sure.
But no, I don't. I channel that now, and then I'll call the property manager and say, great job.
Yeah.
So I want to encourage and cheerlead and then delegate the leading to the executive team and to everyone that flows from that, because the empowerment is what really makes people so successful.
True statement.
And that's taken in the last 5 years. It wasn't easy. I was holding on to the size of my chair. I want to make the call. But I didn't do that.
No,
Well, I did do that a little bit, but I do it much less now.
True statement.
Yeah.
That is true, though. I used to field many calls from you, and that number has gone down quite a bit over time. So, yeah, good job.
Well, now I go on the executive committee and I say, hey, we should do this. And you go, no, we implemented that last week. So you guys are always a step ahead of me. So every time I hear that, I'm encouraged to take more steps back.
So Mike, if I kind of summarize real quickly what Norman said in his answer, I would have to use the word trust.
100%.
He has learned to trust the executive team, the people that run the different business divisions of Radco, and Robert Clark as the president of our company. He has to trust you guys.
That's right.
That you're going to make decisions in the best interest of our organization.
And I have to believe as a founder, right? It's kind of like your baby, right?
Yes.
And it's like giving your baby to someone else, and that's it, the gravity that comes along with that. I just think it was really striking to me that he had that realization, and along the way he put really talented people in place that could make those decisions. but now giving that up, actually giving that up and trusting that those individuals are going to make really great decisions for the company. I really applaud that because I have to believe that's been very, very difficult.
It is, and no one loves your company more than you do.
It's
No
just-
one
it's
loves
just a fact.
Radco more than Norman. It has his name in the
That's right.
name of the company. So, but I really appreciate that because I have seen companies, Mike, and I have read about companies where the founder can't do that.
That's right.
And it causes a lot of internal issues, especially inside the executive team, because the executive team doesn't feel empowered that
right.
they can do anything. So I really applaud Norman
Yeah.
for, first of all, telling us about that, and that he feels very comfortable now with the people he has running the organization.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right about that. So
Well, good. Well, Mike, I can't sometimes believe how quickly these episodes go, and we've covered a lot of ground today.
it's true.
I feel like we've learned a lot from the guests that we had on, and thank you to Aaron Boddicker, thank you to Mike DeSarno, thank you to Justin Shockley, thank you to Janet Belden. All of you guys had amazing information, and that's what this program is all about, Mike. It's
Yes.
about, one, the goal was to highlight our amazing Radco team members and
Right.
the great job that they do, and to really be just another channel to share information
That's right.
with our team. So I think we've accomplished that today.
I concur.
I want to just put another plug in for our final episode of 2018 will be next month, the finale episode, and you are not going to want to miss that.
No.
And then don't forget to stick around for our wonderful outtakes. I had a lot today. There was one I just couldn't get past. And I'm sure that's going to show up in the outtakes, but it makes us all laugh, and I laugh too. So, Mike, it's been a good show.
Yes, it has.
But it's time for us to go for another month, and we'll see you next month on Full Brew for our final finale episode of 2018. Mike, I cannot believe we are already in August of 2018.
And on episode number 10.
Episode number 10, and we're in September.
Friends to work. There's this synergy. Forget that. That's not going to work.
Kyle McKinney is the least.
Delise.
Delise.
She has a new name.
Yeah.
Working on the last name, so we'll mispronounce the first name.
Kyle McKinney is reporting to Travis Osteen. Kyle is our human resources manager. This is going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those. I swear it's going to be one of those. I knew it when we did it. It was going to be one of those. So, and then reporting to Kyle. Reporting to Kyle. I will never get through this at this point. I really won't.
Quick walk around the room. Quick lap. Take a quick lap.
Yeah, can we take just a quick break?
Practice in front of the mirror.
Kyle McKinney. Oh boy. Kyle McKinney is our HR manager. HR manager. I can't even talk. Reporting into Travis. And Denise.
Nice work.